Yeah. Okay, yeah, so welcome to my talk about FPGA acceleration in our Genotype and imputation, phasing and imputation web service. So I'm Lars Wienbrandt from GIW University in Germany, and I think you all know you're all into genotyping, and you also know why we need imputation, so to extend our data to make more sincere analysis here. And this slide I just want to remember that this is a two-step process. Yeah? So from genotyping to imputation, we need a phasing step before to increase the quality of our data. And for the imputation, we of course need some reference panels, and these are three popular ones. So the 1000 genomes is really available. The HSC, you can apply for it and get it. And then we have a top-mate panel, which is quite interesting, but unfortunately closed. Well, there are already imputation services, which are quite popular. So I just named three of the most popular ones. I think this is Sanger, Michigan, and the top-mate server. But all these services, they have some problems. The first thing, when we take the normal software and run them on our server, we encounter that they are quite slow. So phasing for a typical data set takes already 3.5 hours with the Eagle2 software, and then we need another 1 hour just to impute that phase data. And we already did it on a server machine with 32 cores, and we used for Eagle2 the multi-threading capabilities, and for the PBWT imputation, because it doesn't support multi-threading, we simply started all chromosome files simultaneously, and still we have this runtime. Okay, I don't know how the servers are doing, and this is also part of the issues we have with the servers. So one thing is privacy or data protection. So I'm from Germany, so we're in the EU, and in July 2020, the EU-US Privacy Shield was invalid. So when we have genomic data, we are simply not allowed to load them up into US servers. So this is one thing. Of course, the servers claim that they are secure, protected, and everything, but this is a real problem for us. The other thing is transparency, for example. So as I said, we don't even know what servers are running in the background, and also we don't really know the parameter settings, and so on and so on. And there are other issues. So what we already did some years ago was to set up a project where we firstly wanted to improve and optimize the algorithms itself, but for speed. But of course, we don't want to get worse in imputation quality. And then the second part, which is also what I focus on here, is we wanted to analyze how we can squeeze out a bit more of speed when we apply alternative architectures like FPGAs or even GPUs. So here I will focus on FPGAs because this is simply my topic of research. And yes, I know that not everyone buys FPGA cards for his servers, so we want to address the other problem with the servers we have. We want to establish a free web service which is fast, reliable, secure, and which is important for the EU. It has to be GDPR compliant, so the General Data Protection Regulation laws, and of course we want to be also user-friendly and convenient. So this slide I inserted because probably many of you don't know what FPGAs are. So FPGAs is a type of circuit which is different to GPUs or CPUs, where you simply write a program which is run and executed sequentially with tasks, where tasks are processed sequentially or also parallel, but for FPGA, I can define how the circuit behaves. So I can say which entities are connected to which other entities, and so what I can do with that is to make a real fine-grained parallelism here, and this is good for Boolean operations mainly, or simple addition, subtractions. And especially these Boolean operations we will need here later on. So FPGA programming is more like describing a network of circuits. Okay, we're back into the algorithm now. So even the phasing part is a two-step process. So the first part is we need some data type preparation. So which is we find first some k-based haplotypes in our target sequence, we build a condensed reference, and then we build a so-called PBWT data structure. The second part is then the search for the best paths in our reference and the phase calling. And if we look a bit closer into these two parts, we can see that this is around 50-50 distribution. So, and you can see this altogether thing is a really complex problem, so we cannot target everything with our accelerator. In this project, we targeted only the first part of the phasing process. So here I can already say that we do not expect, unlike in Bertel's talk with the GPUs, we do not expect a 100x speed up here. So we can only reach a speed up for the phasing part only around 2, because we only speed up half of our problem. Well, in the algorithm, how do we do that? So first thing, what is this condensed reference? Well, it's quite easy. We have a target sequence of genotypes and we have the reference haplotype sequences. Firstly, we identify which sites are common. And within these common sites, we take off the call sites, which are the heterozygous genotypes, because this is the types where we need to put the phasing on, because of course for the homozygous sites there's no phase. And for this site we need to copy simply the reference haplotypes, and the segments in between, they have to simply be filled with 1 bit of information if the segment between two call sites is consistent or not. As you can see, you see a lot of zeros and ones here, and that means we are here in Boolean operations, so perfectly for FPGAs. This is the second part of the phasing. I just show you quickly, because we need, in this condensed reference, need to find paths, and we always calculate probabilities of these paths when we swipe from left to the right. And when we do that, we extend each path with either 0 or 1. And what I need to highlight here is that for every path, we need to calculate the frequency, how often a subsequence occurs from that position backwards. So, and for this, we need this, I already mentioned, PBWT data structure, which is a position-based Burroughs-Wheeler transformation, which was introduced in 2014 by Richard Durbin. And this is a quite clever data structure, and to explain every detail of it, I think I need another lesson. But just quickly, the plain definition is that if I have my sequences, I define a permutation array for every site such that at this site, the sequences read backwards are sorted. So we can see that probably. If you see this site here, you can see that all these sequences from this position on backwards are sorted. And this is according to this permutation array. Luckily, I don't need to store for every site the permutation array. This would need a lot of space. I just need to store this sequence which is next to the permuted site. So this means that the PBWT is not greater in space than the original reference. And again, a lot of zeros and ones, so perfect for FPGAs. And this is what we did. So I don't show you, of course, the complete network, how I did it, but I abstract this to blocks where you can see what every block does. So this pipeline, this is only one pipeline, I implemented on our little FPGA we have on our server, 32 of them running in parallel. And this pipeline starts here. So first the host has to give this pipeline some information so that the target genotypes are stored in a buffer. there's a mask which marks the split sites and the k-best haplotypes. Well, and then we go through that. The host distributes the reference sequences. Then the inconsistency is, the segments are checked for inconsistency. And the k-best haplotypes are selected, put into a buffer. And then we start with the interesting part here with the PBWT, where all this data is run into the buffer. And we create a permutation array, which is for the first site the identity. And when we read them out, we switch buffer A and B and permutation array A and B. And when we read out the buffer, we read it out permuted according to the permutation array. And while we do that, we already generate the next permutation array for the next site. And this together while the first buffer is loaded again. So everything in parallel. And then we read out this data and just buffer it and send it back to the host. So this slide, just to remember that we're not finished yet. So the second part is still the imputation. I don't go into detail here because of time. We just see the runtime evaluation here now. So this is only the phasing part, without reading data, writing data, without imputation. And I put it chromosome-wise, and it's for an example data set of 1,800 samples. Here we can see that we compared to Eagle, reduced the runtime for one chromosome, here chromosome 2 for example, from 6 minutes to less than 3 minutes. So, which makes a speed up of more than 2, of course, yes. And if we compare it to the software only part, we already speeded up this also. Yeah. Again, out of time, I will show you this slide, which is more interesting, because there we implemented several strategies to speed up the process. So the naive solution was the original software here. And when we do some multiprocessor configuration and using the FPGAs, we can reach up to a 4 times total speed up still. Although we only speeded up the first part of the phasing part. Well, yeah, again, so some quality evaluation, which is interesting, which is due to the EagleImp software, which doesn't matter if I use FPGA or not, because the same results come out of that. We can see here that we indeed are slightly better than the blue curve, which is the original software, and we are even better than some of the servers. So here, the Sanger server, we are always better. For the Michigan server, we are already better here. And not only the top meat server, we only can compete with that in higher math areas. But this is simply due to the larger panel. So the top meat server has almost 100,000 samples in it, and we can only use the public HRC panel here with 25,000 haplotypes. So, just summarized here quickly, I wanted to introduce a web service. So this is just a screenshot. I had to wrap it around where I can submit your jobs. So this is a free service. You only have to register with your email address. And then you can simply put all options for the software you need to, and then submit the job. You can see conveniently how each file of you is imputed. You can immediately see some information when you click on that button, and later on you simply can download the results. And if you need extra security, you can also secure your account with a 2-factor authentication. And so we really try to make it really convenient and useful. And of course, as I said, we are GDPR compliant here. Well, summarized, we have targeted the software, and we already, I didn't tell you this, we already published this software alone in a bioinformatics paper. Then now I presented the FPGA speed up, the extension where we squeezed out a little bit more speed, and we established already a free web service, which is also going to be published soon. Well, what I admit, we need some larger panels, of course. Well, with that, I want to say thanks, especially to my team, and very special thanks to Christoph and Markus, which helped me with the design of the web service. And yeah, please look up at the webpage hybridcomputing.ikmb.uni-kiel.de, where you can run your jobs, and there you can also encounter that you can also run other jobs which are quite interesting, like GWA's jobs or something. Thank you. And I'm sorry that I'm a bit over time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for the very nice talk. And thank you for providing a service to the community, actually, right? So folks, please do have a try at the website. Shall we invite some questions, if there are any?
Hello, thank you. Very nice talk. Very nice to see your web service of implementation server. I just wonder, how do you handle the data that the user need to input in the implementation server? Because so here we are not GDPR, we are outside of that. I know that there is some concern when we use the other implementation servers that we need to send to the server the input data and its individual genotype. So there is a lot of discussion and worry about that, the security of that data that is computed outside in the server. So I'm just wondering how in your implementation you handle that.
Yeah, of course we need the data, and of course we need to have access to the data. This we cannot do otherwise. But yeah, but the upload process. So there are different ways you can upload the data. So the easiest way is to be via the web service. The web service connections are already encrypted, so there's no way to intercept these, and it is protected with your account. So that's why we also need the account. Yeah, it's not that you freely upload it somehow. You have to register. We only need the email address because then we need to contact you. Yeah, so you upload this data. The data is stored, of course, on our server to process the job. So it's stored only as long as it needs until the job is running. And after the job's running, you get, so when the job is finished, so better than that, you get an email. Hey, your job's finished, and you get a download link. It's especially only for you, this link. Yeah, you can access only when you logged into your account again. So that's why I said you can extra protect it with this two-factor authentication. And then you can download it, and you can also manage it. So you can then say after you download it, okay, delete it immediately. Yeah, but if you forget, we also take care of that. So after 7 days, the data is cleaned. Deleted. Okay.